Yeah. Okay, fantastic. All right, guys. So we are going to be talking about how to basically dine out at restaurants or social events or whatever it may be and still be able to lose the belly fat or the tummy fat. All right, so let's get right into it. First of all, the biggest thing is going to be the pick two rule. So when you eat out, you want to pick two of the three of these. All right, so either you choose higher calories or higher carbs or alcohol. So that means if you're having a burger, that means skip the fries and the booze. Or if you're getting drinks, then just stick to protein and veggies, right? Basically, you don't want to double carb, you don't want to double high calorie. So for example, don't get a wrap with the wrap and then fries on the side as well, right? Because that's just an absolute ton of carbs, and we just want to make sure that protein is as high as possible when eating out for a couple of reasons, right? If we're getting protein in our system when we're eating, we're going to be more full and less likely to need to get more items, right? Less likely to need to get more food, more drinks, right? So that is the biggest thing. Another thing that you definitely should do is have a glass of water before and after the meal out. And what this is going to do is, first of all, it's going to fill you up before the meal, and then it's going to basically like hit it home so that you're full after the meal, guaranteed, and you don't need to continue to say snack on the rest of the stuff, right? Another thing that you can do is, say you're going to an Italian restaurant where sometimes the portions are huge. Right off the bat, if you know that, okay, this portion is clearly like 1,000, 1,200 calories, what you can do right off the bat is actually ask for a to-go box, split it in half, and put that other thing in the, on the side. Dylan's saying it's also best to override certain calories 100% when you're eating out, because they're always cooking it with oils or butters and extra seasonings, which they often don't put in the nutrition label and is also hard to see. So yeah, obviously, always definitely overestimate your calories, and that's why it's so good to just sometimes split it right off the bat, right? Eat half and then take the rest home. There's literally no rule that says you need to eat everything on your plate. And ever since I realized that you don't need to eat the entire thing, you just need to eat until you're full and then take the rest of it home. Tracking calories is super easy, right? Nobody is saying okay, you need to eat the whole thing, right? So that is a huge one. Another thing is always if you really have not a lot of calories and you want to get the best option for lowest calories, always order protein and veggies, right? Most restaurants always have the options of a grilled meat with a vegetable, right? Obviously, this might not be the most delicious, but if you have to do whatever it takes to get lean, then you can always order a grilled chicken, steak, shrimp, or even eggs, and then pair that with veggies like a salad, dressing on the side as well, so you can control how much you put on, and then you're good. Another huge strategy is if you know where you are gonna go eat out at the end of the day. So say you're going to, in Canada, we have a Cactus Club. Say you're going to, just to make it simple, let's say you're going to McDonald's in the evening, right? Say you have to go to McDonald's. You know you're gonna go to McDonald's in the evening, and fortunately, McDonald's actually does post all those calories of nutrition. You can literally go online, type in McDonald's nutrition, and you can honestly do this for majority of the restaurants that exist. Even if it doesn't have the specific item or that specific restaurant, say you search up, Mexican restaurant, and then you take the average, these tacos, on average comparing to other restaurants, have this many grams of protein, this many calories, so you can kind of substitute it in. But specifically, when it does actually have the exact nutrition, calories, labels posted online, then you can literally plan your meal in advance on MyFitnessPal. Literally search up, go on the McDonald's menu, look for what has the highest amount of protein, lowest amount of calories. For example, this Big Mac, for example, has 30 grams of protein and then 600 calories. That's not terrible. That's actually not terrible, whether or not that's true, for example, right? You go to that one, and you'd be then you go to MyFitnessPal, search up Big Mac McDonald's, make sure you get the green checkmark version so it's the accurate one, and then you plug it in. And then you can even fit in, maybe you fit in ice cream or maybe a small fries, and then always get a diet drink. You really never need to get a full sugar soda because it tastes the same as a diet drink and it's just another 200 calories. So always get a diet drink when you're eating out, or you can just get a water. Sometimes a water with lemon is nice too, or a club soda, but just try to avoid liquid calories since they do not fill you up, right? Getting stuff like McDonald's milkshake, yes, they are delicious, but you definitely need to account for the calories in MyFitnessPal if you do plan to get it, right? Like I love going to McDonald's and getting like an ice cream. I just make sure to plan it in, right? You just gotta plan it in. So yeah, at the end of the day, if you can plan ahead your meals, that's gonna be great. For sure, yeah, do not be drinking your calories. Okay, so now, what if you have a dinner or social event, but you don't know where it's gonna be, right? This happens all the time. Maybe it's a work event and, it's a big social gathering, it's basically just a buffet. What do you do when you don't know exactly what you're gonna eat? So the strategy for that is, since you will know most of the time, if you have a dinner coming up, save 1,000 calories for that dinner event. So, okay, wake up in the morning. All right, I know that I have a dinner in the evening. I'm gonna save 1,000 calories for that dinner. And then up until that, I'm gonna have 2 or 3 meals that is super high in protein. I'm gonna try to get 70% of my protein goal hit before that meal out, that meal out. Try to stay full by getting a lot of fruits and vegetables throughout the day. So, for example, that's actually what I'm doing today, right? I've got a barbecue. Fortunately, I do know what food is going to be there, but even if I didn't, I would apply the same strategy. So for breakfast, I had like pretty high protein. I had like 400 grams of egg whites, which is 40 grams of protein, 200 calories, then just a bit of butter, a bit of ketchup, and then some fruit. That whole meal was 400 calories. And then for lunch, I had like a Greek yogurt bowl with protein powder and blueberries, right? I had another like 30 grams of protein. And then for my I like having 4 meals a day personally, especially on this cut. It's been working for me. For you might be hungry less, but basically like meat and vegetables, right? I'm getting all my protein in, 70% of my protein before the meal out, and then a lot of fruits and vegetables to keep me full for lower calories, right? Those are like, that's the name of the game. Every single meal, high protein, high volume, low calorie up until the dinner. And that means I've got 1,000 calories left for that dinner where I can enjoy. I can still, I do my best not to eyeball it, and I don't think you need to bring a food scale to every single thing. Like, it's kind of crazy to bring a food scale to a dinner out and just wait in front of everyone. I don't think it's that extreme. Like my clients never have to do that because they just send a picture of what they're eating to me, and then I break them down the calories, so it saves them like the embarrassment of having to bring the food scale. If that's what you want to do though, like I respect it. I've done it before myself, but at the end of the day, like if you got 1,000 calories for a meal out, you generally do not need like more than 1,000 calories for a meal out, because that is actually a lot of food. And I feel like at that point, it's just not necessary, right? 1,000 calories for a feast on a cut is honestly crazy. Yeah, appreciate you, man. Thank you. So what to get so now say you're at that buffet or you're at the social event, and yeah, just saying like bring a scale. Sometimes like at the end of the day, a big thing also is like, if you want to get into the best shape of your life, do not care what other people think, right? If you need to bring your food scale, if you need to eat lower calorie foods, like do whatever it takes if it means a lot to you, right? I'm sure like all of us on this live, like fitness is so important to us, right? Looking better, feeling more confident, all of that stuff is important to us. So we're willing to do what it takes. If that means bringing the food scale for you, then I support. I'll never tell you not to do that extra thing for your health. But now that we're at the buffet, right? Imagine that we're at the buffet right now. You've got all your coworkers around you, right? And there's just plates and plates of food. So how do you structure that meal? First of all, I want you to stick with the 1 plate method, right? You could have a big plate for your actual dinner, and then if you want to have dessert, get the smallest plate possible, and then maybe get, small pieces of desserts, or just don't get dessert at all because it's not going to fill you up. And literally nobody cares if you don't get dessert. Literally nobody cares. You got to realize the only person that's kind of forcing you to have dessert is honestly yourself, especially since you won't be hungry after the 1 plate method, right? So that 1 plate method, 1/3 of your plate should be protein. Like again, chicken, beef, salmon, whatever protein they have, right? Get the highest protein item, 1/3 of your plate. The next third of your plate, mandatory, right? It's gonna be either fruits and vegetables. Typically, if it's a dinner, it's gonna be a bunch of like vegetables. Maybe you get some roasted vegetables, some grilled vegetables. Those are super solid. And usually when you're eating out as well, they usually taste pretty good. So, and if they don't have vegetables, they will probably have fruit, right? That's just a normal thing. So a third protein, a third fruit and vegetables. And then lastly is where you can have more fun, right? It's going to be, that last third is going to be carbs. All right. The last third is going to be carbs. So you're going to have, maybe that's some bun, pasta, maybe a slice of pizza, bread, whatever that may be. That's how you're going to be structuring it. All right. So once you do that, you should be pretty full, especially if it's a big plate. If you are still hungry, again, water before and after. And then if you actually need a second plate, get more vegetables. And if you feel like you're still going to be hungry before you get the whole plate, then I would just say like double up, do half protein, half vegetables, and just skip the carbs, because who even cares? All right, so that's what I suggest to you. Yeah, but that is the live. Thank you everyone who tuned in. This was definitely one of my best lives, so thank you everyone for watching. And if you want me to send my whole like nutrition, eating out at restaurants guide, then just comment below. But apart from that, I'll see you all soon. Peace.